This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It is 7 minutes after 8. Welcome to July. If you're just joining us, thank you very much. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the agenda setter, the Situation Room on Spice FM, on KTN Home. We live stream the show as well every weekday morning on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. We are live on Radio Garden. We are live across all platforms, broadcasting from the Standard Group Center in Nairobi to the world. It's Eric Latif and CT Muga this morning. Our colleague Ndu Okor is away for today. Hopefully, she'll be back tomorrow morning. Jubilee Insurance tells you that they have the best products. And if you're thinking about looking for new health product that will basically address your needs, think no further than Jubilee Insurance's Coverbora. What is Coverbora? Coverbora offers comprehensive inpatient coverage with premiums starting from as low as 6,200 shillings per year for individuals or 12,600 shillings per year for families. That's incredibly affordable. And it covers newly diagnosed and pre-existing chronic conditions. It includes an inbuilt maternity cover, provides last expense benefits, and provides with flexible payment options that give you access to more than 700 healthcare providers. Coverbora is perfect for those looking for affordable yet comprehensive inpatient cover. Jubilee Health Insurance, making health coverage accessible for everyone. CT.
Yes, please.
The number to call if you'd like to talk to Jubilee Health Insurance today to take Coverbora.
0709
Right.
949
Right.
000 000.
Bas.
That's the number you call.
And the website to visit if you'd like to get more information is jubileeinsurance.com. The texts, you can send an SMS to 40643. That's 40643. And the word to put in that body of the text is health. They will give you more information about Coverbora. One of those 700 healthcare providers is the Elkan University, a new center in Roysambu that offers specialized care. They say you don't have to come to our Parkland's main hospital to get access to Aga Khan University doctors, nurses, and specialists. You can go to this particular one in Roysambu, and you get all the services that you need. Specialized care. You have specialists there. Just visit them and talk to them. Have a conversation with them. You do not give us a proverb in the last hour.
No,
but we got it as well.
Yes. That we
Honorable
sort of like just
Manduku.
moved along.
Yeah.
Yes. But the proverb from the Republic of Angola.
Okay.
One cannot blame a bug you crushed for smelling bad.
One cannot blame a bug you crushed for smelling bad.
The one who crushed it, then it raises a stink and a half.
And then you say,
Had you not stepped on it,
yeah,
that outcome wouldn't have been there, would it? No.
You know, Honorable Manduku, he's actually raising very, very pertinent issues, right?
He is.
And the conversation that we've had with him and the way he's explained it nicely,
He's
quietly.
done so.
Let me read the letter that he has written, all right?
Yes.
A call for urgent action, dissolution of Kenyan Parliament and the reconstitution of the cabinet to restore democratic integrity. He says, I start by sending my condolences to the families and relatives of the innocent children who lost their lives during the otherwise peaceful protests in parts of the country. Recent events have underscored an urgent crisis in Kenya's political environment. The widespread demonstrations leading to the invasion and desecration of Parliament by the protesters provoked by the contentious Finance Bill 2024 have revealed a significant loss of public trust in the Kenya Kwanza government and Parliament. In light of these developments, it is imperative for the President to dissolve Parliament, reconstitute his cabinet, and invite the international community to oversee fresh elections within 90 days to restore democratic integrity and public confidence now that the IEBC is not properly constituted. He goes ahead now to look at various provisions of the law which may open a small window for the dissolution of Parliament. Article 261(7) of the Kenya Constitution, where the President can dissolve Parliament if it fails to fulfill its constitutional mandate. There is an invasion and defilement of Parliament signifies a failure. Now, this particular Article 261, subclause 7, is talking about when Parliament fails to enact a law that is important and imperative, one can go to court and the court can say, Parliament, you have failed in your mandate. And then the president can then dissolve Parliament. Okay?
Yes.
Same way we can say, Justice Maraga, Chief Justice Emeritus Maraga, wrote to President Uhuru Kenyatta last time and said, you know what, it has been brought to my attention that Parliament is not constitutionally constituted in terms of the 2/3 rule. And therefore, I urge you, Mr. President, I recommend to you to dissolve Parliament. Of course, Uhuru did not do it. Maybe now, Chief Justice Martha Koome can be compelled via a petition by a voter in this republic who goes to court and says, this Parliament is not properly constituted. The Chief Justice can find it to be so, can advise the President to dissolve Parliament. The question is, should Parliament actually be dissolved? Has Parliament lost legitimacy? Has Parliament lost the trust of the people sitting?
You know, let me put it this way. If you look at the questions that people raise, we need to understand the terminology that we use as Kenyans. We say government. And when they say government, I believe they have it right, because government is not the executive, it's not parliament, it's not the judiciary, it's all of them. That's government.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't distinguish between, when you say government, people assume it's the executive. The executive is not the government. It's just the executive. The track record of this particular parliament, 13th, is it?
Yep.
Okay, the unlucky number, for those who are superstitious. This particular parliament has displayed, should we say, a neglect of their duties that no other parliament has actually displayed. And they will argue and say, no, but we have this, and we have this, it's in the Hansard. Okay. People have confidence in you when you do what you're supposed to do and when you do what you said you would do.
Yep.
Okay? One of the roles of Parliament is to check the executive for anything we may refer to as excesses. The problem we currently have has to do with the debts that we have, almost insurmountable debts. Parliament has the role of ensuring that limits are set. Limits for borrowing are set. And if they're not set and the executive goes outside these boundaries, they are supposed to ensure that the executive does, to the point of even censuring the executive. But when repeatedly you talk about a parliament that seems to be a department, that is my term, a department of the executive, meaning they just do the bidding of the executive, then arguably they have failed. Now, there are those who are in the opposition who will say, we've constantly voted no. But when it is clear that your vote doesn't have any effect whatsoever, should you not think of doing something else that will have an effect? And this is why now the conversation that architect Mheshimiwa Manduku has brought in becomes pertinent. Because what are the alternatives that those in the opposition who are a minority, what can they do to highlight the problems that we are actually seeing? And when you talk about people resigning from their positions and seeking a new mandate, it becomes very, very relevant. Because if the issue here is that entire house, whether you're in the minority or majority, it is the house. There's no house for the minority or the majority, it's just the same house. So when there's an indictment, it's for all of you.
All of you.
Yes. So if you're asking the question, and I can answer it now, do I think the citizens of this country have lost faith? Yes, they have. If they hadn't lost faith, they wouldn't have talked about going to parliament
the way they did.
Yes, they would never have even dared to go to parliament.
So what should we see happening in parliament?
Well, those of us who...
Because Manduku and others have said, maybe the law is a bit untidy on how parliament can be dissolved. The president cannot wake up and form an opinion and say, I was in the Gen Z X space last night and they said I should dissolve parliament and so therefore I've dissolved parliament. He can't, right? There has to be ground. And the ground for dissolution of parliament is not really clear according to what we are hearing so far.
But why is it not clear? I thought when we had the 2010 constitution,
Because-
it was very clear.
Because there's a recall of members of parliament.
Yes, there is.
Parliament is in control of its own calendar.
Yes.
And the instances when president can dissolve parliament are those ones of 271, or even those ones of the 2/3, when the Chief Justice recommends and says parliament not properly constituted, it has not met the constitutional gender threshold, I recommend the president may dissolve. And this particular one, 271, is where it says if parliament does not perform. Actually, let me just read this one. Maybe there are other clauses probably, but we look at these ones. Article 271 of Kenya's constitution. Parliament shall enact any legislation required by this constitution to be enacted to govern a particular matter within the period specified in the 5th schedule. This is particularly for implementation of the constitution. Okay?
Yes.
And where they were saying, so Parliament was under strict timelines to go ahead and come up with laws to implement the Constitution. It's where it says, if Parliament fails to enact any particular legislation within the specified time in the 5th schedule, any person may petition the High Court on the matter, and the High Court may determine a petition and may general to take steps to ensure that the required legislation is enacted within the period in the order and report the progress to the Chief Justice. If the Parliament fails to enact legislation in accordance with these particular clauses, the Chief Justice shall advise the President to dissolve Parliament. This was specifically because it's a transitional clause, it's consequential legislation of this Constitution. It
Yes.
was, this Constitution needs to come to life. And to come to life, this constitution needs what? Needs pieces of legislation. And Parliament shall not dance along this one. Parliament has strict timelines within which to enact legislation. Those are specific to implementation of the constitution.
Yes.
Maybe someone can go to court and say, you know what? There was the issue of the gender threshold.
But that
Maybe the
was
courts
the
have
issue.
already said. Maybe the courts have already said that this one is, it's progressive. It's not time bound. So it's not really clear how can the president dissolve parliament. How can the Speaker of the National Assembly say, I am sending parliament on
The Speaker of the National
through a
Assembly.
month or long-term recess?
The Speaker,
Can't.
the Speaker, everything that we see currently, it is very unlikely that the Speaker will do that. It is equally unlikely that the President will do that, because this same Parliament is the Parliament that really gives this President the powers that he has. If there's an absence of check and balance and there's a support for the executive by Parliament, then it means the executive will have powers that are even beyond those required and stated by the Constitution. Because the very people who are supposed to provide the check and balance are the ones who give him that free passageway to pass through and to seek and to do whatever it is that needs to be checked. Okay, that's one. Two, those who have been demonstrating, our fellow citizens who form the group that we keep referring to as Gen Zs, stated categorically that they are going to seek to recall the members of Parliament. They've been saying it.
Yeah.
Now, they cannot do this before the end of September. Okay? They cannot. But that doesn't mean that they will not have started the process. If I look at the determination that this group of young people have and how they're going about their business, I can state categorically that members of Parliament are going to be recalled. Yes, that process, we will see it being put into action.
We will see.
And
We'll
September
see it
is
being
not far.
tested.
2 months.
No, it's not.
It's not far. It'll come, it'll pass, and we will see it.
So one route is that
Yes.
individual voters in a constituency put up a petition to recall their MP.
Yes.
We have 290 constituencies.
Yes.
We have the women legislators from the 47 counties. Sawa. That's one route, recall. Can there be another route of MPs conscientiously deciding, you know what, let's seek a fresh mandate? Because like I was posing to the Honorable Dr. Manduku, if 109 MPs who voted no to the finance bill, all bar none, resigned today
To seek a fresh mandate
to
from
seek
their
a
people.
fresh mandate from the people, the remaining members of parliament will be in a really tight spot.
They will be in an extremely tight spot. Because those elections will be held.
Yep.
And then what will we say of them?
They will be in a really tight spot.
They will then have left themselves to the vagaries of being recalled. Because a position will have been taken that is clear that there are people here who actually mean business and they are willing to pay the ultimate price. They'll say, look, let's not just be talking about it.
Yep.
Let us take the steps that we demonstrate we don't want to leave anything to doubt that we mean what we say. We are resigning.
Okay.
Yes.
So then can we say that what if we encourage members of parliament to resign? So let's say if the people of Nyaribari Masava, for example, have confidence in Dr. Manduku, and they think that they can marshal a majority to vote him back to parliament, they go to him and encourage him, resign. We will put you back in with a fresh mandate. If people of another constituency feel, you know what, this is our MP and he has served very well, go to him and tell him or her, resign. We assure you, we are going to vote you back in. Encourage those MPs that you feel are performing to resign, even if it's 10 of them. Let there be 10 resignations on a single day, and all of them are saying, we are resigning because we do not feel that this 13th Parliament is heeding the directions of the people, serving the people.
What they would fear,
Yeah.
and what may hold their particular horses in this one here,
Yeah.
is the understanding of our politics. Those who are still in power and those who are in the executive would guarantee that they sponsor candidates of their liking and of their leaning who would actually vie for those seats. There's that fear.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we have a very beautiful example in this country where citizens have done exactly what you asked. Where the party politics is strong and the individuals know that the only way to get voted is to be in this party. We've had people who are not in those parties being elected. That narrative then tells you, the citizens can tell you, Nani, it's you we want to elect. It does not matter. You do not have to be in that political party.
It is you.
It is you. Be an independent. It is okay. We will elect you. And we've seen it. And not once, not twice. We've seen it for a long time. In places where it is absolutely doubted that anyone who is not on that party would get elected. We've seen them elected. The thing with many such things, which represent an upheaval of a system, the difficulty is the starting point. Before the demonstrations, nobody could have perceived, no, let me talk about myself. I could not have perceived that the young people of this country would take up and take the steps that they took. I could not have seen it. In my wildest imagination, I cannot even claim that I foresaw it. I did not foresee it. But now that it has happened, it becomes clear that it has happened. The very thing that one could not see. So what you're suggesting, it looks now that because we can't see it, but it can happen.
It's possible.
Because if that kicks off, it will set in motion something that has never happened in this country before.
Yeah. Let the dominoes start falling.
You know, the time when people took a step like that was in that very, very first parliament we had, when people crossed over the aisle to join Kenya People's Union. Where? The elections that followed. Ballot boxes that were found in Rivanjoro. It actually ushered in, you know, this culture we hear of banditry and misbehavior during elections.
Yeah.
One saw it then. Because the ruling party, KANU, could not have a situation where those who were in the opposition. Now, it was said that the then Minister for Constitutional Affairs, a clever man by the name of Tom Mboya, realized that, you know, the only way to stem this tide, say, okay, fine, it's good to walk across the aisle, but remember, you were elected on a KANU ticket. So you now need to get a fresh mandate if you want to stand on KPU. That fresh mandate, my friend, proved to be tricky. When it was mentioned, some people just walked back. They did not stay where they were. Now, we've moved a great deal since. The time that we find ourselves in, if that step that we speak of is not taken by the members of parliament, it will be taken for them.
And that's the question that I'm asking. Even as we discuss it, if you look at the comments that we're seeing on our stream on YouTube, people are saying, okay, yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, if you're a member of parliament and people came to you and said, you know what, CT, it's okay. It's just, you know, instead of us going through this whole long course of recalling and you resign. We believe that you're doing a good job. We will elect you. Would you accept?
I would. And I'll tell you why. If the discussion is on principle and I believed it, then I would resign and let whatever happens happens. Because remember, we do have examples of people who've been willing to bite the bullet.
Yeah.
Okay? One governor of Makueni was one such person.
Yeah.
He was willing to bite the bullet.
He said, let's dissolve this county.
Completely.
First an election.
Including myself.
Yes.
It is the president who was then who said, no. But he had said, dissolve it. Let us go back to the people and seek a fresh mandate. And by the way, the elections which followed, I think there's only one MCA who went back. Every other MCA out. So the people spoke very loudly. And the governor was re-elected.
Yes.
Yes. So the people are actually able to determine who they believe has their best interests at heart.
Very good. So we are joining two things here. If you, as a member of parliament, stand on principle and you feel that the way things are running in this house, we are not serving the people. We are not being true to our mandate.
Yes.
And our core mandate is representing our people.
Yes.
Is legislating to the best interest of the people.
Yes.
And oversighting the executive to serve our people.
Yes.
And this parliament is not doing that because of how it is, whether it's been captured, whether it's been politically manipulated, whatever you feel is wrong. If that is your principle, then you can go and tell your people, this is it. Spend 2 weeks just going around and telling people, you know what, I feel that I am not serving you.
And I cannot be a part of this particular parliament.
And I want to send a message that I want a fresh mandate from you. And then you resign. And let the people also be honest with you and tell you, yeah, we hear you. And those that will come trying to be clever and they told boss, to Makonea 18, wherever you story, because you heard so and so saying it, you think you can also come and tell us the same thing. You know, he may be. Right? So this can engineer that, the beginning of the dominoes falling. Because we're asking ourselves, so recall parliament is one option. But what's the other option?
Well, the other option...
If the people actually feel that they have lost their confidence in the 13th parliament, what's the recourse?
Look at the self-interest that many of our members of parliament have been serving. Now, what is it that would give them the impetus to even reconsider the position they currently hold?
Yeah.
Or what is it that would be different but would still end up serving their interest? Because if just this election, this voting, it automatically and immediately and almost very viciously turned people against the members of parliament. And you're talking about across the country. You find some who voted no being welcomed like heroes in their constituency.
Yeah.
Now, when you see that, what you're actually dealing with is not a flash in the pan situation where something has happened and when the sun comes up, it'll dry up like dew in the morning. It speaks of an existing dissatisfaction, which was sparked off simply by this finance bill. The finance bill gave it the opportunity for expression. But the dissatisfaction was there. Now, the members of parliament, unfortunately, represent that dissatisfaction. So, if you take a position that people don't align with, even if you don't resign, they will find a way of getting rid of you.
Oh, now that we don't have an IEBC that can conduct an election, and that's why the people of Banisa don't have a member of parliament. The people of Magarini are not about to have a member of parliament. Should we just say, okay, let's wait for 2027 then?
But
this
who says the IEBC cannot be constituted? What, again, the question then arises, what do we need to do to ensure that the IEBC is constituted?
Make sure that the law is passed and signed by
Precisely.
the president. Form a new, expanded, whatever they want to call it, selection panel for the IEBC.
That's it.
Have the IEBC in place within a couple of months, and then let
a parliament that goes on recess when we have the sort of problems that we have, what does it tell you? You are in recess and we have a problem that requires your presence because we need the laws to be interpreted. We need you to create situations that will enable things to move forward, and you're in recess.
We have to fumigate, Bana. There are unwanted characters who entered parliament last week.
Those windows had a problem even before we had this finance bill.
Not the windows. criminal elements.
If there were rats, the rodents were there before the finance bill.
It's not the rats. Those are our rats in Parliament. We know them. There were strangers who desecrated this hallowed house.
Actually, the Parliament does not need to be operational for you to be recalled, so it's okay.
Let's take a break. 28 minutes to 9. We want to get the business news and then we'll tell you about the weather and traffic. After that, we'll open the phone lines. We want to hear from you. Number one, do you have faith in Parliament or do you trust the 13th Parliament? If yes, good. If no, what next? Should we wait until 2027? Should we begin the recall process? Should we encourage a certain number of members of Parliament to kickstart these dominoes and resign? 0719 012 600 after the break.
This is the situation.
Habari njema, mchezo mpya wa kushinda hela umewasili. Tazama Utuzwe ni mchezo rahisi na njia haraka ya kushinda hela ukitumia simu yako. Kuwa mmoja wa mamia ya washindi kila siku. Jishindie kuanzia shilingi 20,000. Ni rahisi. Deposit kuanzia shilingi 20 hadi 99 kwenye paybill number 145656. Account number KTN. Shinda sasa hivi. Draws na washindi kila hour. Kumbuka, deposit kuanzia 20 bob hadi 99 bob kwa paybill number 145656. Account number KTN. Na unaweza kujishindia hadi 1,300.
From heart-pounding action to tear-jerking romance.
You will never lose people in trainings.
From mind-bending mysteries to side-splitting comedies.
Is that blood?
KTN Movie Experience, we have it all. Mystery, adrenaline, action.
9 seconds.
Now double that. Welcome home.
Told me himself. You've been together for a while now.
I told you my mommy and daddy aren't bad people. So why are you shouting like that? Are you bad like your mommy and daddy too?
I think that maybe Gio's mistress might be working in Makela as well.
Mom, stop thinking about it.
Partly sunny, highs of 20.
This week on Manspective Africa.
When they fall apart, we say marriages are under attack. I like how Christians like to see demons everywhere. Or, marriages are under attack. But you're barely doing enough to stop them from being under attack,
You self-sabotage in relationships. You sabotage yourself in professions. You're supposed to apply for a job. You didn't. You just didn't. For no good reason. When men view pornography over time, they become so habituated to the use of pornography that they cannot easily get aroused by a woman.
I feel like it's very easy to empathize with women than it is to empathize with men.
Yeah, because from a natural point of view, men are dispensable. Nature builds us to be dispensable.
Only on KTN Home.
Block all the way into Muthaiga, all the way into Muranga Road, into Globe Cinema Roundabout, into Wangari Maathai Road, all the way into Museum Hill. That is the lie of the land. If you're coming from Kiambu Road, if you're coming from Thika Super Highway, that's what you're going to encounter. Jogoo Road from Makadara heading towards town, coming all the way to City Stadium Roundabout, into Landis Road, into Haile Selassie, busy. Mombasa Road, starting from South Sea into Nairobi West, Makadara, not Makadara, but Nairobi West, into Nyayo Stadium Roundabout, Bunyala, Uhuru Highway, to Haile Selassie Roundabout, busy. Same, Langata Road, coming towards town, busy. Raila Odinga Way, busy. Ngong Road, busy. Let's just say everything busy.
mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Our conversation continues. In the last hour, we had here with us in the morning the Honorable Dr. Architect Dario Manduku. He's a first-time member of Parliament from Nyaribari Masaba, and he has raised a public conversation. And he says the events of last week, where people actually said, let's occupy Parliament, and they went ahead and entered Parliament, are symbolizing something. That the people have lost confidence in this 13th Parliament. And they're saying, because of also what's happening, where people are starting to agitate and saying, let's prepare ourselves to recall our members of Parliament using the law, it basically just means something. People have lost confidence in the 13th Parliament. And he's saying, can this Parliament be dissolved? Now, the legal route of dissolving the Parliament is not really, straightforward. But there's another legal route of dissolving, of getting this to happen. The recall clause. That's one. Another one is voluntary resignation by members of Parliament who will tell us that they have a conscience. Such that the Honorable Dr. Manduku, and he feels if I did it alone, I'd just be alone. Okay. There were 109 members of Parliament, for example, who voted no to the finance bill. Can they resign?
Every time one talks of resignation, one takes the view that there are people whose conscience enables them to distinguish with clarity right and wrong. If they're in a position of authority and that authority has led to some mishap and it seems to contradict the very expectations of their roles, they take a step back and say, no, I will resign. Okay? We have the complete opposite as the guiding ethos. Someone does wrong and they dare you to even utter the word resignation. They tell you, what?
Yeah.
I am going to stay in this thing and I am definitely not resigning. Which means, as far as they are concerned, any wrong that is committed, even if it is pointed out to them, it is okay. It can, one can move on even with the errors. Now you tell me, we are saying that we want a complete culture change overnight, where people can grow a conscience where the previous one was certain until it died. They can grow a conscience and realize that, look, the best thing to do is actually to take a back seat or to take a step back and say, okay, I've got it. Let me just leave this job and seek a fresh mandate. It is a tall order, but one has to start somewhere.
Start somewhere.
Yes.
Start by saying, let us salvage. Even if it is just the one person, Lot, who is the good guy in this entire Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yes.
Let's give that one Lot the chance and tell him, dude, live and don't look back.
Yes.
That one who has a conscience. And say, can you start? Then we shall deal with the others. The others who don't resign, then we deal with them. But you who has a conscience, you who believes that, yes, this is not right, can you resign? Let's go to the phone line, 0719-012-600. The question we're asking this morning is, number one, do you have confidence in the 13th Parliament? Number two, what do you think should happen to this Parliament? Should members resign en masse? Should it be dissolved? And if to be dissolved, and you understand the legal processes, how? What's the legal route of dissolving a Parliament? And the other one is the recall. Let's go to the lines. Simon Geshoke in Nairobi, good morning. Simon?
You're well?
We are well. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Very good.
First of all, I was hoping you would tell us to call when Dr. Manduku was on air.
Yeah.
Because first of all, he lied about why he resigned. I tried even calling his line, it's been off.
Okay.
Because that number two, let's leave that alone, but that was a lie. The main case, we know it. It's because they developed a plot owned by KRC. So he shouldn't claim that he is an uncorrupt human. That's a lie. Now we are settling the scores now with Hashimiwa. Number two, he has said something that has also angered Kenyans. before we recall an MP, we realize they also have loans. Do they realize how many people have their livelihoods destroyed based on the bad decisions they're making? And his only way of saying we cannot recall him is because, as per HR laws, we should consider they have loans to settle. That's why it is hard to recall an MP. That's an insult, my brother. Taking a party position is okay. But when you come back to the ground, 2027, I'm 100% sure, they may not even be UDA or ODM when they're vying for those seats. It will be you and the electorate. But they purposely made the cloud so hard to recall, and they even fixed the term of parliament such that it's hard. Allow me to remind you something. Right now we have elections in France. Why? Because the party for Marine Le Pen, or that name, won the European elections. So this guy called Macron is trying to figure out, do I still have support of his MPs to govern? Yes, his term is fixed until 2027, but he still the MPs. And then muone kama bado mko na mandate ya Wafaransa.
So Simon, let's come then to our conversation. Number one, do you have confidence in the 13th Parliament?
I don't think, I do not have confidence for one reason. We never chose our MPs.
Okay.
So I cannot have confidence in people who 100%, none of us, most of us voted for the color.
Okay.
Not for a person.
What's the recourse?
The recourse is back to the streets until the president is, okay, this is enough, all of us go. But then they have done something very nice. I want to see Wajinga. There's no IBC. So I'm to dissolve parliament. You dissolve parliament. The same institution that is supposed to install IBC, you dissolve it.
Okay.
So actually right now we have a sword, both ends, zinatukata. Dissolve parliament, no IBC. Retain them, they can take as long as they want to form an IBC.
Thank you, Simon.
Karibu.
Eric in Nairobi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Eric. And just wanted to say well done yesterday. I think the whole country was proud of what you guys did.
Thank you.
Keeping the president focused. So well done on that. So regarding Parliament, I don't think many people have faith in Parliament, as the gentleman before me spoke. And what he spoke about IBC is also true. So I think that is the pickle that we're in as Kenyans, and that should be the next conversation that we're having, is regarding IBC, reconstituting it so that these elections can happen. But I wanted to digress. I wanted to just shift one small thing, and it was regarding what the president said yesterday, and it was regarding to alternatives, and how the government can raise money alternatively other than punitive taxation. And what I want to suggest, and what I want to push and to share, I'm a millennial, what I want to share with other millennials, other Kenyans, especially Gen Zs, to have a policy prescription, is that there's more than one way for a government to raise revenue, and then that's called supply side economics.
Yeah, Eric, I'm gonna stop you there, Eric, because I've got many other callers on the line. Let's have that conversation on the day that we have it. Thank you for calling. Florence in Mombasa, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Big up to you guys yesterday. You
Asante.
did us proud.
Asante.
Yeah.
Do you have confidence in the 13th Parliament?
No confidence at all.
What's the recourse?
We go back to the streets.
Until what happens?
Paka watusikie.
And how do we ensure that happens?
Okay, I was listening to the guy who spoke before me, and actually, the fact that we don't have IEBC also means that we are in what we would say a quagmire. So maybe, I don't know, the way these guys are all thugs, if we keep them in office, are we sure they're going to constitute an IEBC for us to recall them and have an election? I don't think so. I don't know what we are going to do as Kenyans.
Okay, Florence, don't give up. There is an existing court decision that is compelling Parliament to actually hurriedly constitute the IEBC.
But do they listen to this court?
And then there can be pressure on that side. There has been a conversation on the NADCO report, which has then gone through the particular bill on IEBC has gone through the National Assembly, and there's consensus with the Senate. It has passed. It now is awaiting transmission to the President. for signing, and then there will be the constitution of the selection panel for the IEBC of whatever nature. So there can be an IEBC in place if there is sufficient pressure for goodwill within the next couple of months. Don't give up, Florence.
So they push, as Kenyans, we push for that. And this time round, we try and make sure we have an IEBC that is not going to be compromised. Because IEBC has failed us time without number.
Right.
Yeah.
Asante, Florence. Stephen in Kisumu, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning to you.
Sydney from Kisumu.
Yes.
I really don't feel like we have confidence in this sitting parliament per se, because as it seems they've failed Kenyans. Even the guys in opposition have failed us, because if they have conscience themselves, the suggestion of them resigning and all that is a basis for the parliament to be recalled. But I'm pretty sure, and I'm very positive, the reason why these guys are not taking the step of resigning is because they're pretty sure we're not going to vote them back in. There's no one who is confident enough in this current parliament that when parliament is recalled, or if we were to have another election right now, I really don't think there's anyone who is confident enough that we are going to vote them back in.
Nobody is sure that they've done a good job.
Yes, and that is because they are pretty sure, and we know as Kenyans that if we were to have an election right now, we'd really have a lot of independent candidates in that parliament. Independent elected members of parliament. We would not be having this party thing. In fact, the direction we are going as a country right now is a direction where we are going to have a parliament full of independent members of parliament.
Okay.
Yes.
We hear you, Stephen. Thank you for your call. Godfrey in Bungoma.
Yes, good morning.
Morning to you.
Yeah, I just have a suggestion towards the discussion of today.
Yeah.
And my feeling is that we've lost confidence in this parliament. Because these guys, what they are doing, they have lost the link, the connection between them and the electorate. So they have just drawn their focus on the executive, that's the presidents and whatever. So I feel one of the things that also I think the Gen Z should add on their manifesto is to push for the formation of the IBC.
Okay.
So that the moment we get the IBC in place, any decision that will be made, then we should just go direct to the elections.
Okay.
Two, I want to comment on interest, or if we have confidence on them or not. These guys completely don't have confidence in them. In fact, at the moment, even there is no development on the ground. These guys have concentrated on their personal interests and some of them even have started campaigning for 2027, which I think most of them will not be there. So what we want is these guys to come back on the ground, meet the electorate, sit with them, listen to them, and then when they go back to parliament, they should go knowing what they're supposed to do.
Thank you.
According to what they're doing now, it's totally nothing.
Thank you, Godfrey. Rogers in Mandera.
Yeah, I wanted to contribute about this thing. I think we should be realistic about this thing. Now, because there are so many excitement and euphoria, people saying, let's recall. No, by the time they are setting up this IBC, 1 year is done. By the time their recall process, and if they wish to resign, almost a year is done, and everything to setting up, now will be 1 year to election. What's the purpose? Let the Gen Z bank the wins they have already. That is, they can be had, and they push the financial bill out. They can start pushing for things like corruption and good governance. These things of Kenyans reacting to situation. Were there accidents? Let's ban me travel. Where there was anything, there was some event last year about the ladies, something. They react to knee-jerk. So The best thing is to bank the wins and work. Let's not be emotional when we react to events.
Okay.
The MPs were mesalimika. Now, some have apologized, some have understood their mistake. Because we are not going to pick these MPs from heaven. They are among us, and they are as a society. So let's be cool. Let's bank the wins. Let's look at the progress.
Okay.
You see, even you were talking to the president. You can see from the way he was talking, unlike other interviews that you have been conducting, there's some change. Am I right?
So, Rogers, what you're saying is let's wait around. Let's do all these things and have our focus on 2027, the next general election.
Next general election, because all this process, and they are the ones who constitute all the process. They can do whatever they want to delay it, because there is nobody else who's going to do it.
Yes. We hear you. Thank you, Rogers. Thank you very much. Titus in Mombasa.
Morning, Latif.
Good morning, Titus. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
All right. I'd like you to be a bit louder, please.
Fine, thank you.
Very good. Do you have confidence in the 13th Parliament?
Personally, I don't have confidence in this government and what is going on. Even the people of Kenya have no confidence in this government.
Okay. Thank you, Titus. I see there's somebody who's saying that, of course, they're watching from outside the country and would like to call in before you sleep. Please call 0719-012-600. We pick calls from across the globe. Dennis in Nairobi, how are you?
Hello, morning, Latif. Good stuff yesterday.
Asante.
So personally, I have confidence in this parliament.
You have confidence?
In the sense that, yes, in the sense that when we went to elections, manifestos were sold to us.
Yeah.
All right? And they sold to us a picture of what they have, of what they see, where they see the country going.
Yeah.
And we picked the one that we found most palatable to ourselves. So onus is on them to make sure that this is implemented. Yeah.
Okay. So you have confidence that they can actually do it?
Yes, but they just need to explain better and perhaps streamline things.
Yeah.
But by the end of the day, there is this manifesto that they sold to us. We need to see it implemented to the letter. Yeah.
Asante sana, Dennis. Mila Menga from Siaya.
Latif.
Good morning, Mila.
Good morning. It's been long since I engaged on Spice.
Yes.
I think you did well yesterday. Salimia Charles.
Sitia mesalimika.
Mesalimika kaka. Hujambo lakini?
Niko salama sana.
That's very good to hear.
Now it's not only the MPs at the 13th Parliament. It's even our county assembly members. Kenyans have shown that they were betrayed. They were told lies. And now that they have realized, you know how betrayal at 18 years, 19, 20 years is very painful. We're just realizing that we've been betrayed. And we are speaking out, and we are saying that, it's not only the parliament that was occupied. Even the county assembly of Makueni, I think, was occupied by young people. So it's going to the root, and I agree that Kenyans don't have faith in the people they elected, and there's need that they recall them. And the process have just started. We cannot wait up to 2027. People should move with speed and engage structures to recall these MPs who are doing the service to our country.
Okay.
And again, lastly, I agree with what you asked the president, that we are used to talks. We did the BBI, we did the NADOC. We are now talking about 100 people who are supposed to sit somewhere to discuss this. And the structures are there. The structures are there that we should use to engage people. It's only that we ignore those structures intentionally.
Let's have that conversation another day, Mila. Thank you very much for your call. Thank you very much. There are very many comments as well on our social media, where we are live streaming the show on YouTube, Spice FM, and on Facebook as well. Let's just sample some of them. Nimrod says, Kenya needs to reinstate the mayoral system and let the CDF funds be handled by the local or town council. Remember, Nimrod, we have devolution. We've got counties now. They can also handle that. Eric War, Eric anaongea mbaya ati kwani sisi ni Arsenal tungoje 2027 an election. Lean Baker says, I have zero confidence in this parliament and never had any confidence in them because I knew that they were liars and they were not going to perform. Many of the comments that we are seeing here, people saying, no, I don't have confidence. The route is, can we quickly and urgently push for the reconstitution of the IEBC, and then from there, things can happen. Samuel McLeod, our MP, will certainly be voted in again, anytime. Danson Mwashaku for Wundanyi, Taita Taveta 006. I have confidence in him. I disagree with Rogers. This is what someone's saying. Rogers said he has confidence in this parliament and, there's still time. His own was saying, let's give it until 2027. So we do not rush. Let there be a properly constituted IEBC. Let everything, all the ducks be put in a row. And 2027, which is just not many years from now, we can have that election. IEBC needs to be to get its act together. And Njoki Mongai, Simba says, how is the president now? That's a different conversation. Looking back at last night, Douglas Smoko says, if MPs cannot be held accountable by the laws as well as all other leaders, whether it's 2027, 2032, will never make any difference. Many comments there, City. Many people are expressing themselves and saying, what they feel about Parliament. The question is, City, do MPs get it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. The moment someone continues justifying their position and giving you reasons why they've done what they've done, they haven't gotten it. This isn't one of those moments where you argue. So in those moments, you keep quiet and reflect and ask, tell me what I can do differently. But if your position is that, no, excuse me, you're the one who doesn't understand. You need to get this straight. It's what, then the needle hasn't moved.
Yeah. So there's still quite a bit to be done.
There's a great deal to be done, and
it's all of it is reflection.
It is.
By those in leadership.
Yes. Because we missed the boat a long time ago. It's a question of reflecting and finding how you can retrace those steps that were the steps you're supposed to take. And you can't do this without consultation of your people. Saying, guys, I have wronged you. Tell me what you believe I should do next so that I can do it well.
Okay. So in the next hour, we'll still keep the phone lines open and want to have a conversation. So the president's